Hi everyone, welcome back to the class of literary readers. This is Pratibha, and today we are gonna talk about the world renowned author and the 19th century English novelist Jane Austen. Jane Austen is one of the most recognized names in English literature, and she is known for her six major works. So, before we talk about the important works written by the writer Jane Austen, what else we are going to cover in this video? So, in this video, I'm going to talk about the author's biography and some facts related to author's life, then genre and style, and like I have already said, the major works written by Jane Austen. So, let's begin our discussion. Jane Austen was born in the year 1775 in Hampshire, England, and died in the year 1817. Her works like Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, and Emma were published anonymously. Now, what does the word mean anonymously? Anonymously mean with the different name of the author. So these four works were published anonymously. Apart from that, her novels like Northanger Abbey, Persuasion, and Lady Suzan were published posthumously. So these three novels were published after the death of Jane Austen. Apart from that, Jane and her sister Cassandra used to exchange many letters with each other, and these letters, which survived, are the source of most of what we know about the writer Jane Austen. Her works were also republished in Richard Bentley's standard novel series. And apart from that, Jane's nephew Edward Leigh has also published a work called A Memoir of Jane Austen. Other than this, the writer Jane Austen was also admired by the writer Richard Sheridan. Richard Sheridan remarked on the work Pride and Prejudice as one of the cleverest things he has ever read. Another writer, Walter Scott, has also praised Jane Austen's realism, and the novels like The Watson and Sanditon are unfinished novels by Austen. So these are some facts related to author's biography that you need to remember if you are preparing for the upcoming UGC NET examination. Now let's talk about the genre and style used by Jane Austen. Jane Austen's novels are known as novels of sensibility. Her works are also part of 19th century literary realism. The literary critics F.R. Lewis and Ian Watt placed her in the tradition of Richardson and Fielding, and both believed that she used their tradition of irony, realism, and satire to form an author superior to both. Apart from that, Austen's plots highlights women's traditional dependence on marriage to secure social standing and economic security. So, Austen's novels are known as novels of sensibility, and her works are also part of 19th century literary realism. The literary critic F.R. Lewis and Ian Watt placed her in the tradition of the writers Richardson and Fielding, and both believed that she used their tradition of irony, realism, and satire to form an author superior to both. Now let's talk about the major works written by Jane Austen. So here we have Sense and Sensibility. This novel was the first novel by Austen and was published in the year 1811, and this was published anonymously. So this novel was published with the different name of the author by a lady on the title page. If we talk about the setting, then the setting, this novel is set in southwest England, London and Sussex from 92, I'm so sorry, from 1792 to 1797. So here what the title represent? Here the word sense represents good judgment and wisdom. So the main character Eleanor here represents sense, and the word sensibility represents sensitivity, emotionality, and sympathy. So the another character, important character, Marianne, who is the sister of Eleanor, represents sensibility. So here we find that Elinor and Marianne are the two important characters in the novel. If we talk about the story, then the story follows Dashwood sisters. They are three sisters named as Eleanor, Marianne, and Margaret. And Mrs. Dashwood is the mother of these three sisters. Apart from that, here we have another important characters like Edward Ferrars, Colonel Brandon, and John Willoughby. If we talk about the themes, then the novel is based on the theme of love, marriage, class, and importance of balancing reason and emotion. So, the novel Sense and Sensibility is the first novel which was published anonymously, and this novel talks about Dashwood sisters, Eleanor, Marianne, and Margaret. So, that's all about the novel Sense and Sensibility. Then we have the most celebrated work by Austen, Pride and Prejudice. This novel was published in the year 1813. This novel is considered as novel of manners. The original title of the novel was First Impressions, and this novel was published under the pseudonym of by the author of Sense and Sensibility. Pride and Prejudice is the most loved books, and after the publication of the novel, 20 million copies were sold. Pride and Prejudice is based on the theme of prejudice, marriage, class, and self knowledge. If we talk about the story, then the story follows Bennet family. Here we have five sisters: Jan, Elizabeth, Mary, Lydia, and Kitty. And apart from that, Mr. Darcy is also the important character in the novel. So the novel follows the character development of Elizabeth Bennet, the female protagonist of the book, who learns how to overcome her prejudice, and also the character development of Mr. Darcy, the male protagonist of the book, who overcomes his pride. Apart from this, if we talk about the setting, then the novel is set in Hertfordshire and Derbyshire. So that's it about Pride and Prejudice. The next novel by Jane Austen is Mansfield Park. This novel came in two editions in 1814, which was published by Thomas Egerton, then in 1816, which was published by John Murray. Mansfield Park is a fictional village which is also the setting of this novel. If we talk about the story, then here we have Fanny Price. Her family sends her at the age of 10 to live in the household of her wealthy aunt and uncle. And apart from Fanny Price, we also have important character in the novel, that is her aunt, Lady Maria Bottom. The critic Edward Said has criticized this novel and remarked that Mansfield Park demonstrated casual acceptances of the material benefit of slavery. So that's all about the novel Mansfield Park. Next, we have the novel Emma, which was published in the year 1815, then in 1816. Emma is considered as comedy of manners novel. If we talk about the setting, then the novel is set in the fictional country Highbury. Before the beginning of the novel, Austen wrote that I'm going to take a heroine whom no one but myself which much like. If we talk about the story, then the story talks about the female protagonist, Emma Woodhouse, who is clever, rich, self satisfied, and she overestimates her matchmaking abilities. This novel was also adapted into movies like the Hollywood movie Clueless and the Bollywood movie Aisha. So, Emma was published in the year 1815, then in 1816. It is considered as comedy of manners novel. Here we have the female protagonist Emma Woodhouse. Then we have Northanger Abbey. This novel was published after the death of Jane Austen, and this novel was published in the year 1817 and 1818, dated on the title page. This novel is coming of age novel and comes under the genre of gothic fiction. Here we also find the reference of the work The Mysteries of Udolpho, which is a gothic fiction and was written by Anne Radcliffe. Topics like high society, gothic fiction, Bildungsroman The value of reading and the importance of time are being discussed in the novel. If we talk about the story, then the story focused on the heroine of the novel, the young protagonist, Catherine Morland. So, Northanger Abbey is a coming of age novel and comes under the genre of gothic fiction. Then we have Persuasion, which was published with the novel Northanger Abbey in the year 1818, dated on the title page. Persuasion is a satirical romance. If we talk about the story, then here we have the love story of the main character Anne Elliot and Captain Wentworth. If we talk about the themes, then this novel is based on the theme of timeless representation of love and getting a second chance at love. So that's all about the novel Persuasion. And last we have Lady Suzan, which was also published after the death of Jane Austen and in the year 1871. Lady Suzanne is an epistolary novella, and here we have Lady Suzanne, the main character of the novel, and this novel is focused on courtship and marriage. So, in this video, we have covered almost all important works by Jane Austen. Uh, do remember that the Watsons and Sanderson are unfinished novels by Austen, and here in this video we talked about Sense and Sensibility, then we talked about Pride and Prejudice, then Mansfield Park, then we talked about Emma, which is a comedy of manners novel, then we talked about Northanger Abbey, which is a gothic fiction, and then Persuasion, and last we talked about Lady Susan. So these are some important works that you need to remember if we are preparing for any kind of examination regarding English literature. Last, we have some important quotes related to Jane Austen. The person, be it gentleman or lady, who has not pleasure in a good novel must be intolerably stupid. This is the quote from the novel Northanger Abbey. Then, I declare, after all, there is no enjoyment like reading. How much sooner one tires of anything than of a book. When I have a house of my own, I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library. This is the quote from the novel Pride and Prejudice. Alas, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in the position of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. This is the quote from the novel Pride and Prejudice. So that's all about this lecture. I hope that you have enjoyed this lecture. And if you have any query, you can post your comments in the comment section down below. You can also follow Literary Readers on Instagram. I will provide the link in the description box down below. Till then, keep watching Literary Readers and thank you.